Hi, everyone, and welcome to my first episode of my new podcast, Layers of Healing, a place where I have a vision for us to talk about topics people normally don't talk about. And I just want us all to heal together and have a new platform for that. And as the name says, layers of healing, I want to talk about every layer I've been through in my healing journey, to give you all a little or big insight of what it can look like and you feel less alone. Um, that's my journey with this podcast. So, yeah, what will you see here or hear here? I want to talk about controversial topics that flow around in the healing spaces. I want to talk about my own trauma. I want to talk about what I've been through and what I've learned from it. So maybe you can relate and find healing. I'm already doing this on Instagram, but I feel like I need another platform where I can express myself even better than Instagram. And I think I find it with this podcast. So this is for you if you're on your healing journey too, if you feel stuck a little bit, if you just look for someone who is raw and authentic and shares every little detail. I will tell you everything. I already talk about everything. Family dynamics. I talk to you about my 5-year emotional dependency I went through. General life topics. And also how my faith is a big role in my life right now. It will not be about faith all the time, just a little sprinkler here and there. I really want to serve you and make you feel seen and less alone in your traumas, in your struggles, and that's what the podcast is for. What I want to talk about today as a little intro is how important it is to be aware of your own beliefs and how important it is to be aware of where you're at right now in your journey of healing, because for a long time I was not aware where I was. I was not aware of, I can't even express my emotions. I was numbed. I didn't feel anything. I've been through the motions. Like, I've been through bullying in school. I've been through sexual assault. I've been through depression. I've been through self-harming. I've been through limerence, which is, if you don't know what limerence is, it's just emotional dependency with a man where you think you love him, but you don't really. You're just emotionally dependent on him, and how I figured it out, how I got out of it. And I really want to share my story so people find help in it, find strength in it, and know that they're not alone. And I have a lot of topics in mind. I can talk about so much. But for today, I just want to talk about what I experienced yesterday, and also what is the main goal of this podcast is making people aware. And I slept for 10 hours yesterday, and I dreamed vividly. Normally I don't remember my dreams, but sometimes I do. So sometimes, or most of the time, I dream that I'm fleeing from something, which is a huge part of my dreams. And also your dreams tell you a little bit what you're confronting yourself right now with, so what your beliefs are. So it's kind of a mirror sometimes, not always, kind of a mirror of your internal world. So for me, it was a long time I was dreaming of fleeing something. If you ask ChatGPT what it is, then it's just like you run away from responsibilities. What I don't, I guess. But yesterday, so recently I figured out, and I also shared it on Instagram, that I have a negative belief of mine that I'm forgettable and unimportant. And first of all, I'm so sorry if somebody also feels that way. And I figured it out because always when I yeah, when people forget something with me, I'm just like, ah, it's fine, don't worry. Or people forget to text me. For example, I had a thing with a guy, and he said he'd text me, and he didn't text me, and I was like, oh no, that's just how life is. I don't mind. I don't even know him. He has no responsibility over me. No, he doesn't. But if people say they do something and they don't do it, that's first of all unrespectful. But I noticed that I have the feeling that I'm unimportant, and it's okay if people forget me. And that's not the case. I am important, and so are you. But what I wanted to say, I dreamed yesterday. So I know I have this belief. So I dreamed yesterday that I was home. So I grew up in a little village next to a bigger city in the northern part of Germany. And I love my parents. I always say my childhood was dysfunctional and not unloving. And I will underline that every time. Um, and we have a small house. So when me and my sister moved out, my parents got 2 dogs. And I love the dog so much. And I dreamed that I was back home in our village. And I was doing my thing. I don't know. I was just in fields, like playing as a child, like I did. I think I was around 10 years old. I was not my age. And I came back home, and I saw the door wide open, and in the car of my mother. So we have 2 cars. My father has, which is always on the left side of the house, it's a Mercedes, and my mother has a little Opel, if you know these cars, and it's always on the right side, parking on the right side. And I was looking to the car, and I saw our dogs there. Like, our dogs were in the car. And I opened the car, I got my dogs out, and I went inside, and I was just like, why? Why did you leave the dogs in the car? And my mom was just like, oh, I forgot. They were there. Like, I don't care. And I woke up, and I was like, whoa. This is like me wanting to take responsibility, and me thinking I'm forgettable, just like my dogs were forget. Like, it reminded me of the time where I was in kindergarten, and my mom always took so long to pick me up. I was always the last kid. I was always the last kid to be picked up. And it just reminded me, this dream was just, when I was awake, it just reminded me of exact this situation, where it's just like, oh, I feel so forgotten by my parents. And that's also where I have this belief from. So now the circle closes. I understood that I have the feeling that I'm forgettable because my parents make me feel that way sometimes. Mostly when it was something with waiting in the car when my mom's doing groceries, and she never came, like, she came back, but it took such a long time. And I remember one time when I was in a car, my mom wanted to get groceries or shop or whatever, and I didn't want to come because it was always so stressful for me as a kid. And I was waiting in the car, I played my Nintendo, like the Nintendogs. And at some point, I think I was 6. I was very young. 6, 5? Did I have my Nintendogs? I think I was playing something. And at some point, I thought my mom forgot me. So I went out of the car. She didn't lock me in. So I went out, and I started searching for her in the city. And at some point, I was just lost because I didn't know where I was. And my mother, I just remember vividly that my mother running to me, like crying and picking me up and just saying, no, you cannot do this. Da-da-da. So rather than being comforted, I was just yelled at. What means yelled at? That's what I remember. I don't know if that's the truth. That's the same thing. Like what I remember, what my brain saves from this time, it doesn't have to be the truth. It could have also been that my mother was pretty kind and comforting me, so happy to see me, but that's not what I remember. But it doesn't mean that it's truth, what I remember, like what I recall. But so I'm starting to see a lot of things in my childhood which could be the origin of, or better said, the root of me having the belief of being forgettable. And I think we all have situations from our childhood we're not aware about, but once we know what our negative beliefs are, we can really ask ourselves, like, why do I believe that? At some point, I was just taking out my journal, and you can do that too. Like, taking out my journal, and I was like, why do I believe that I'm forgettable? And then my brain answered. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because a lot of people also don't know your anxiety center in your brain develops the most when you're a child. So I once heard, but I don't know if somebody has the source and or knows it better than me, then please say. But I heard that in the first 4 years of your life, 80% of your anxiety is developed. Like every anxiety you feel today is probably from your early years. That's why the early years are so important. And it just makes so much sense. Like everything you feel today or how you behave today is probably because something happened in childhood. And with this podcast, I really want to wrap everything, what I've experienced, what people of mine experience, like friends of mine or people I've met. I really want to share awareness and make you see patterns of yourself or help you in your journey to discover yourself and find acceptance and bring subconscious things to the conscious. Because everything we believe, we say, we do, it's based on our conditioning. And we can change that conditioning. We're not slaves to it. And there are different ways to do it, which I will also talk about in this podcast. Whether it's me talking or I'm talking with someone else who's an expert in the field. Because, for example, when it comes to brain stuff, I'm not the expert on that. I did do my homework, but I'd rather have some experts talking about it. So I really want this to be a safe space for healing, for breakthroughs, for getting to know yourself, and also meeting your inner child. Because they want to be heard, and you just have to start to listen to it. And once you hear something from me which resonates with you, you will know. You will know. So yeah, I planned a lot of things. This one was just like a little nugget, like a little golden nugget for the beginning. So in this podcast, Layers of Healing, it's for me so important to view every part of my healing journey, hopefully make someone resonate and help you in your own healing journey. That's basically my mission I have with this. Whether you have a therapist or you don't have a therapist, I've been in therapy for 3 years. I ended therapy last year in October, and it was so hard for me to also get out of therapy and do life alone. And so I've been there without therapy, I've been there during therapy, and now I've been there without therapy. And I really want to, that's why also where the name comes from, I really want to show you all the layers, like when you get support, when you don't get support, how you can support yourself, how can you heal yourself, to some extent, of course, like healing is not a destination, it's a path you go on, and you will find acceptance along the way, and peace and love and joy. And I also, the most beautiful thing I want everybody to witness at some point is I got an email from my therapist saying, because she recommended another therapist to me, and I wrote to the therapist because after my therapy I was longing for someone else. I was like, I can't do this alone. Please send me someone. And I really want to have someone else, and I want to do another form of therapy because I need so much healing and I can't do it alone. And that was basically my brain. But turns out the email I wrote, so I wrote 2 emails to that therapist she recommended me. The first one, I think, in August when I still had therapy, but I wanted to have like someone close by, close after the end. I wanted to start a new one. And then she didn't answer. And then I wrote a second email after therapy in November something-ish because I was struggling, what I will talk about here as well. So my therapist sent me an email the other day, and she was just like, oh, I just talked to my friend, who I recommended to you, and I was curious, and I asked her, like, has someone reached out to you from me? So she asked her, and her friend, like the therapist she recommended, were like, no, nobody reached out. And then they were looking at the spam folder, and they noticed that I was in their spam. So both emails I sent to the new therapist, I was in a spam folder. As soon as I read her email, like she was saying how sorry she was, and she recommended her, and that now she was very, very, very sorry that she didn't reach out to me. And I read the message, and I was just like, oh, I'm pretty grateful it didn't work out, because I'm in Bali. So if you don't know, I'm living in Bali right now. And I'm finding a lot of peace and a nice community here, and I'm so happy to be here. And also I'm doing pretty good right now with life and my struggles. That's also where I think now is the point where I can really help people, when I'm on the other side of whatever you want to call this healing journey. And I was just like, you know what? I'm happy it didn't work out. And I truly am. I'm happy I was not forced into a new therapy by myself, and just learned to live life on my own. And I do a pretty good job right now. I just know how it feels to seek help and to think you cannot do life alone. But there are people like me, and also a lot of other gorgeous creators or coaches who help you through stuff. And I just want to give you access to all that. And also, therapy is way overpriced. So I want to make therapy more accessible to you. That's what a podcast is all about. I want to make therapy more accessible. I want to help you heal by sharing my story. And maybe you resonate, maybe you don't. Maybe you resonate to some stuff and to other stuff not really, but which is fine and which is good. I'm happy if people don't resonate with me, to be honest. If you listen to my podcast, like 3 episodes, and you're like, that's bullshit, I don't resonate with that, I'm happy for you. I don't ever want people to resonate with my content. But if they do, I am here holding space and just want to talk about it, because we've been shut by society for a long, long, long time. And also my bio says, I don't know if I will change it, but I'm here to slam the we don't talk about this door wide open. Wide open. I'm talking about everything. This will be an exciting journey. I'm happy to do it with you together. And I'm growing into this. You're growing into this, and we can just grow together and heal together. And yeah, that's it for my first episode. If you like this, me rambling on, feel free to check out the first official episode next week on Thursday. If you follow me on Instagram, thank you for being there and supporting me. If not, it's also fine. You can also just listen to the podcast and don't follow me. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week. Let's do this.